Hi, I'm Larry Bucket, the DCC guy. For the last few videos, we've been talking about some pretty technical stuff here on the DCC guy. So today I want to take a look at something that's a little bit more fun. Pulp loads. Pulp loads are something that can always use a little bit of improvement. And today I'm going to show you how you can make your own that look just like the prototype. So let me crank the video down and we'll get started. When it comes to pulp loads and what are called pulp racks, the cars that they're carried in, you can't beat these Atlas GSC models. They've been around for probably 15 years or better, and they've gone through a couple of different iterations in design, although the basic mold has stayed pretty much the same. The big difference has been in these plastic load inserts that come with them. You can see this one, it's pretty plain. It doesn't have much detail. The top of it just looks like some pieces of plastic that have been cut and stacked. There's very little detail on the sides and any depth here. This later version, you can see they've tried to increase the amount of detail here on the bark and also on the sides here. So these look a lot better, particularly with a little extra weathering. However, one thing that you can do to improve the appearance of your loads is to go with something that looks just like those on the prototype cars. As you can see, these are made from actual wood. So let's take a look at how to go about doing that and how to produce a really nice looking pulp load. I'm going to set these aside. So, what I use is white pine branches. You'll notice that on white pine trees, and they're planted all over the place, the lower branches and ends of the larger branches tend to die off, and you end up with these fairly small, dried out branches hanging around on the trees for some time. And these are just perfect diameters, and also the structure of the bark is great for making pulp loads. So I went out in my backyard yesterday and picked a bunch of these. So let me show you exactly how I prepare these. And it involves this Northwest Shortline chopper. It's great for doing this. Basically, I've got it set up for a standard of approximately, I believe these are 1/2 inch lengths. Let me check. Actually, they're 3/4 of an inch. So I've got this set right at 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm just going to go through here and mindlessly, you could do this while you're watching a football game or a movie on TV or anything. Just set up and start chopping away. And after a few hours, you'll accumulate a box full of prototype looking pulp logs. Now, these are very important in the area that I model. In the central part of Virginia, there's a lot of forested areas that are harvested on a regular basis for pulp, and there's a lot of pulp mills, pulp processing plants in the Lynchburg area, down around Richmond, Virginia, all over the place. There have been, and during the 1950s, there were just a lot more. So what I do is, I've got this pile of, I'll put out a pile of these. You can see they're nice. They vary in thickness a little bit, the structure of the bark, the color of the bark. It is a lot of nice variety, which is what you want in any model. So how do I go about making pulp loads? let's start with this empty car, okay? And cut yourself a piece of aluminum foil, like this one. You can also use cling wrap, and just slip this over the open area in the pulpwood flat. Okay? And then you'll want to start stacking. And this is the boring and tedious part of the job. Not that chopping logs is not boring and tedious, but what you have to do is just start stacking these suckers like this. And just keep doing it. And you're going to fill this whole car with these pulp logs like that. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you this one because it's a little bit further along. I've got at least 2 rows here. And basically, once you've got the first row done, they pretty much fall into place by themselves. But that first row on both sides, it requires getting a lot of evening up and being very careful not to disturb the logs that you already have in place, because one slip and you can have a big mess on your hands. But you just keep stacking these things, one after the other, like so. And we're going to keep doing that till we get to the end here. And it's important to run this all the way up to the end, because what I'm going to show you will change in dimensions over time. So you want them stacked and filled in completely end to end. Okay, so there's a couple of rows stacked up. Now I'm going to get these out of the way so I don't make a mess here. Now at this point, and at several points during the process, typically, let me just point out, what I do is I line up a whole bunch of cars and do several of these at a time, because it just takes a lot of time to do it, but it's well worth the effort. Now this is not mustard. It's actually Elmer's wood glue, but I managed to break the top off of the original container, so I had to put it in something else. And, you know, this works fairly well. It's the right color too. But basically then, once you get a good couple of 3 layers here, then you just want to run a nice bead of Elmer's glue down each side here. And don't overdo it, because this stuff will tend to ooze out by itself. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep making layers like this and slowly building it up. I need to run it back up here a little bit further. There we go. Didn't quite catch that end there. But then, you know, you just keep adding more to the log load. And as you build this up, you will be doing several different applications of the glue. And so that's going to build up, and it's going to eventually set up and bind this whole log load together. Just keep doing it like this. What you eventually will end up with is a log block. And you can see here where the glue has dried here on the bottom, because it will ooze through. And that's why you have to have something like the aluminum foil or the cling wrap to sit in there so that you can get this sucker out. Otherwise, it's going to glue itself into the empty rack. And I like to have these removable, because you can play a empties in, loads out type of operation with your pulp loading facility and at your unloading facility at the pulp processing plant. So it's pretty straightforward. I probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different layers here. So that'll give you an idea of how much work it takes to produce these. But again, you can't beat the appearance of these. they really do look good rolling around on the layout compared to something like these. And they do look a lot better even than some of the cast resin loads that have been produced lately by a couple of companies. So give this a try. I think you'll find that it's something that's easy to do. It's mindless almost, so it's something you can do while you're watching TV or something else and have a few moments. Now, as I said earlier, over time, the wood and the glue will continue to dry out and contract. And eventually you can see this is a slop fit in here. What you can do is you can come back later on and glue some extra logs onto the end so that it will sit in here a lot tighter. And I've done this with some of my loads already. You can see this one is really a slop fit. I need to go back and add several pieces to this one. So hopefully that will get you started on a project to update your log loads and get your pulp racks looking like something rolling down the track near you. That's about all I have for today. This is the only video that I'm going to be putting out this week because I was out last week. I'm always a week behind on these things, or try to be a week ahead. So I was on vacation and I only had time to make up one video in advance and get it ready for you. So I hope you enjoy this and can get out there and go take a walk in the woods. Get yourself some white pine twigs. These are great. They have nice bark texture. They make great log loads. This, by the way, is a project that I did not originate this idea. It's something that I've been doing now for about 20 years. Also, though it appeared in a model railroader article back in the 1940s or 50s. So model railroaders have been using this technique for decades. And it's something that looks good and is fairly easy to do, and you can't beat the price. Once you have the loads or the cars to put them in, you can go walk in the woods. The only cost to you is buying the wood glue and, of course, the Northwest Shortline chopper. So have a good week, and I'll be back with another video the following week once I have a chance to catch up on all of this and figure out what week I'm in. So thanks a lot for watching. Bye now.